my grandfather and grandmother, they were always, seemed like they were always there with my sports. When I played, first started playing basketball, baseball throughout the years, and in the 8th grade when I started playing football. In the 9th grade, something profound happened to me. I had a teacher, and this teacher turned out to be one of the best instructors I would ever have in life. Any college course, any high school course that I took, hands down, she was the best. And her name was Clara Lupa. And she asked me, "Do you know who your grandfather is?" And then she proceeded to tell me exactly who my grandfather was. You see, early in life, of my life that I recall, my grandfather always had stories. He was constantly telling us stories. To me, they were like adventures. But I finally got it. I think I was in the 9th grade when I got it. And these stories, they were told, but at this point, I wasn't just passive, it was more interactive because I wanted to know more about it. And I remember the time when he told the story of when he was the first black football player at his high school.
When it became photo day there at the New North High School, the coach called out several fellas to line up to have the picture taken. Among those persons called was the black boy Jimmy Stewart. The photographer lined us up, some standing and some in a crouched or sitting position. I was in a sitting position, but directly over me was a redhead boy that we called Red Winters. He was from the little town of Winfield, Kansas. High schools in those days in Kansas, and I imagine they did it everywhere elsewhere, recruited boys for high school teams as well as they do for colleges now. And Winfield was a rather small town to the southeast of Wichita, so our coach had recruited Red from down at Winfield. As the photographer was about to take the picture, I heard Red Winters whisper to one of the other boys the question, "Did that nigger make the team?" The answer was yes, that nigger made the team. He not only made the team, but he was the only one of the North backfield to make All-City. However, to show you how teamwork works, even in interracial situations, some few weeks later, while we were playing in a game down in the little town of Arkansas City, Kansas, I didn't ever notice in games what people said, even the cheerleaders, what they were saying. But anyway, I didn't hear the remark, whatever it was. But Red Winters did, the boy who had asked if that nigger made the team. And all I learned was to hear Red Winters telling this boy from Arkansas City, "And you better not bother him," speaking about me. It shows you that teamwork means more than race.
I remember the time when Mr. Ralph Ellison was over to the house, and I believe this was the day before the induction to the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, when my grandfather was inducted to the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. Ralph Ellison came out of the back room. By the way, Ralph Ellison, normally when he would come into town, he would stay with my grandfather. And I'd met him before, but before I really didn't. I knew he was, but really didn't. I knew he wrote, did some writing. But this last time he came, I knew exactly who Ralph Ellison was. And it was a treat just to be able to sit there in the living room and to listen to my grandfather and Ralph Ellison talk. And I was thinking at that time, I wish I had a recorder. They was talking about events at Douglas High School, the Deuce on 2nd Street, the Goings On. It's very interesting.
I would like to say this in closing. For the last nearly 30 years, I've had reason to go in and out of New York about 4 times a year. And Ralph is one of the exceptions in this respect. He's been in New York nearly 40 years, isn't it, Ralph?
Yes.
But everybody that comes to New York from Oklahoma who wants to see Ralph Ellison can see him. He has never lost the touch of human people. And Ralph either comes down to the hotel and sit with me, or if I tell him some more Oklahomans want us to come over to that place, he'd go there, or I'd go up and sit with he and Fanny. Now that's a touch that not too many people have once they get to New York, because I know some other old kids that are there. Ralph and Fanny always welcome me into their home for the last 25 or 30 years, and I'm just so proud of them. Thank you very much.
I remember my grandparents' 50th anniversary and in preparation for that. That was a very nice day. The family was over to the house and we were preparing to get ready to head off to the church. But before we went to the church, we actually made a stop. We went down, I believe it was close to 2nd Street, or somewhere close to downtown, and the place where he actually asked my grandmother to marry him, we stopped. Things, of course, changed over the years, but we actually stopped and got out of the cars and had a toast. That was nice. What? Stacy. Stacy and Grandpa. Yeah.
They got the book at the same type thing. Two old men.
A master of all I survey. Y'all both stand out to the same way. Both got their hands in their pockets. Just like.
Everybody ready? We were, some years ago, your grandmother and me were drinking wine out of these glasses here. Okay. Let's read Xander. Yeah. Xander got them for us to go down there right now if the fellow ever gets here, so we can have a drink of champagne. See, I was going this way, going to lunch, and she was coming up the hill. Yes, sir, this is 50 years. 50 years. Good gracious.
Oh, Lord, she said, look here, what I got.
The hotel was on the corner and the pigeon temple was next door to it.
Right next door to it.
Yeah, that's right. These were all pretty good homes.
They were nice looking places.
As I was telling you, this was Calvary Baptist Church. It was built by R. Benton Bingham, who was from Tuskegee Institute. He was on the Booker T. Washington in his day.
He'll be all wet.
Daddy? Yeah. Hi. You give us a show. What are you going to say?
Right.
After all these years.
Glad I was there.
Here's the best grandma that you children could have.
And the best
one today. All right.
As time passed and my grandfather became more weak, at this point I believe he was nearly bedridden. I was sitting at the side of my grandfather's bed and my grandfather whispered to me and said, Stacy, there are going to be times in your life where you're going to have to make tough decisions, unpopular decisions. Just whatever decision you make sure you go with your heart. Because if you go with your heart, whatever the outcome is, you can live with it. I remember that till today. I would like to thank not only my grandfather, but the likes of Roscoe Dungy, Thurgood Marshall, Clara Luper, Ralph Ellison, and so many more for making a better place for not only my family, but throughout the United States, period. Thank you.